Kshama, I saw that you wanted to say something earlier about the Pramila Jayapal critique.
Yeah, and also about the whole discussion about
she's like,
somebody
oh,
like
no, more than
Marianne
that.
Williamson. I'm sorry, I have.
She's like, oh,
Bree was like, you gotta do one comment on Pramila. She was like, whoa, no. There's a lot of things you gotta say there. I got sorry, that was funny to me.
I can't sit here and y'all ain't gonna cut no video clips of y'all talking about some Marianne Williamson and y'all ain't got me saying hell to the no. To this
play that
bullshit.
part again. I think that was funny. She was like, no, I got way more to say. But go ahead. I thought that was funny.
Okay, yeah. Right there.
Joe Biden, people are saying a lot of things. Kshama, I saw that you wanted to say something earlier about the Pramila Jayapal critique.
Yeah, and also about the whole discussion about somebody like Marianne Williamson. I'm sorry, I don't agree with some of the views here in the sense that I don't think we should be in the business.
He's being nice.
Kshama is way more nice and way more professional than we are. What she said is the nice version of, hold up, let me correct this bullshit that you guys were talking about. She just said the professional version of that. Let's continue.
So sowing illusions that was somebody, yet another candidate running in the Democratic Party primary somehow going to be the.
Now look at their faces. It's completely flipped.
Yeah.
They had cheery faces when it was just the corporate Democrats bad, wrong, that, when it was just that. And it was like, they held progressive. You notice how both of them are candidates and they're both making references to Democrats doing them wrong, right? You notice that? But they're still invested in the system, which is just bizarre. Nina Turner also.
Hope, because fundamentally, it's not about, I'll come to the candidate itself, but fundamentally, it is not even about the candidate. It's about the party machine. The Democratic Party machine is not going to allow that kind of, what the kind of uprising that ordinary people want, the kind that Bernie Sanders, the campaign that he ran on, that was hugely popular. I don't know if people remember, Bernie Sanders did a town hall with Chris Hayes, I think, and for some reason, I'm not able to find it on YouTube. I don't know what that is all about. But he did a town hall, on TV with working class white people in, I think, were based in West Virginia, and it was really moving because you had these very, very impoverished people, families who, to me, it almost seems like it looks like it's a third world. Coming from somebody who grew up in India, and they were all in.
Just real quick, I want the video to keep playing, but I'm glad she said that. When she said she went to West Virginia, it's pretty much like a third world country. And then she said she grew up in India. Remember the report I just showed you guys? And I always throw this at Republicans because you guys see how much I criticize blue states, which is a ton. So it's not like me deflecting and trying to apologize for Democrats. But I noticed that Republicans do this thing like, oh my God, you see how blue states are horribly ran? There are homeless people everywhere. Like, nigga, you guys see the quality of life of people that live in South Carolina, Alabama, and Mississippi? The UN said that they live literally, and I'm using the empire language here, they literally live in third world conditions, right? So that's a great point, Kshama. I want to continue. I love that point that she makes.
For Medicare for all, decent union jobs, taxing Wall Street to fund ordinary people's needs. And the Democratic establishment is completely hostile to that. So I just don't see, right now, I don't see the possibility of someone who, like Marianne Williamson, who's even politically weaker than Bernie Sanders. She's not even
That's exactly what we were saying. Absolutely, Kshama. Absolutely.
Gonna have her say all of that last 20 seconds again.
And they were all in for Medicare for all, decent union jobs, taxing Wall Street to fund ordinary people's needs. And the Democratic establishment is completely hostile to that. So I just don't see, right now, I don't see the possibility of someone who, like Marianne Williamson, who's even politically weaker than Bernie Sanders. She's not even where Bernie Sanders was. How is that going to make it happen? I think we should not have that expectation, honestly, and not that we don't want a left challenge. Of course, we want a left challenge to Biden. You and I think, talked a few shows ago about it. It's absolutely, with Chris Hedges, it's absolutely necessary, but it's a question of in what political framework is that likely to happen? That's the question, and that also goes back to this question about Pramila Jayapal and this idea that well she followed the rule book of Nancy Pelosi and what did she get out of it? But that's the wrong question in the sense that she's not doing it in order to win something for working class people. I mean that's just not
destroying them. I was gonna say I want to be okay playing, but she's literally in a much better way than I ever could. She's taking every point. Remember how Bree asked about Pramila? She's like, hold up, I'm on every point you made. I'm on every point they made. She is like deconstructing and destroying in the most efficient manner. And it's so brilliant to see. Let's keep the video playing.
She's doing it.
Even if she's doing it to win for herself, I think my point was that she didn't even get to be speaker. Like, what is she? Even if it's for self-advancement, she's just failing. She sold out, and for what?
But that's the thing. But that's what they have decided to do because, and actually, there's a real lesson there as well in the sense that unless you are an out and out corporate representative like Nancy Pelosi, like many others, meaning the establishment, will actually screw you over, even if you are not a full-throated advocate for working class people. So in that sense, and RBN pointed this out a few shows ago on their show on YouTube.
I didn't know she said this part. I didn't hear this. I mean, I listened to all of it, but I didn't pick up the RBN part.
Yeah, I'm going blonde. So that's nice. That's nice to hear. That's nice to hear. I want to hear that part again.
Yeah, I'm gonna rewind it a little bit.
You know what I mean?
Like many others,
full context.
Meaning the establishment, will actually screw you over, even if you are not a full-throated advocate for working class people. So in that sense, and RBN pointed this out a few shows ago on their show on YouTube, Revolutionary Black Network, that in fact even AOC did not get the committee assignment that she's supposedly could have gotten. That is all true. It's also missing one other link though, and I think this is the fundamentally important thing that is.
No, I'm sorry. I'm just talking shit now. Let's get W in the chat. But much love to Kshama. Let's get W. Let's continue. I'm being goofy. I'm just being goofy.
Yeah.
But I think that is all true. It's also missing one other link though, and I think this is the fundamentally important thing that is not often visible from the outside, is that when you are in elected office, I mean, when you're campaigning as a workers' representative, yes, they will come hard at you. They will throw everything against you. Look at the way the Congressional Black Caucus and Progressive Caucus went against Nina Turner. I mean, they went all out against her. They punished her for even professing support for working class issues, let alone in winning anything. And so you can imagine how much doubly so that force is against you when you are in office. And I've experienced that firsthand every single day. And really, what it shows is that and this, as I said, this is the part that's not visible always. It's when you are in elected office, you can see that, and it's our job to share it once we have that experience. That it's not really about what you can get by selling out. It's the fact that if you don't get in line with the big business agenda, they will make your own daily life absolute hell. That is the way it works. It is not even about money in the sense that, yes, a lot of people in politics are really, politics is really murky under capitalism. A lot of them are making money, probably secretly and under the table, getting all kinds of perks. But it is not even just that. I don't think that the squad is engaged in any kind of shady maneuvers of that kind. But the reason they are selling out nonetheless, and they're not taking corporate money in their campaigns, all of that is true. But they are selling out nonetheless, because if they don't, then their daily life will be made absolute hell by all.
So what Kshama is pointing out, this is a great point for those. They're non-corporate Democrats. Who cares? And you make this point too. Yep. There's other ways to corrupt people, and she's pointing that out. She's saying, maybe not to corrupt in the way to describe what she's pointing out. She's pointing out they're getting in line because you say, well, why did they vote to break the strike? They didn't even need their vote to break the strike. So they won't get treated bad. For reputational harm, just so they won't get a backlash. So that's the point that she's making here, and I think is a great point.
Yeah.
All these forces that will circle around them.
Like, so what I'm getting at is it's not just money that forces you to vote for Ukraine funding, to forces you to vote for police state. You don't have to be getting money from those industries.
Absolutely.
You knowing that, hey, I'm going to be crushed if I don't vote for that. I'm going to be crushed if I don't vote for that. And it's about me preserving me. You get what I'm saying? So
that's such a great point. That's a point that I made before. Like, just humanize them. I explained the concept with AOC and Nancy Pelosi. There was this article that was written that it was about how Nancy Pelosi tamed the squad. And literally, she got Ilhan on her side by just simply taking her out to lunch, asking her about her kids. And remember, these people are politicians. I met Tulsi Gabbard in real life. These people are the most charming people you will meet in your life. TV don't really capture it. Like, if you ever meet a politician who's in politician mode, I still remember Tulsi, God damn. Like, she had to smile down, to walk, the cadence. They're very nice. So imagine being surrounded by this 24/7. Remember, AOC didn't endorse Cori Bush over William Lindsay Clay. Why? Because William Lindsay Clay were working with AOC on the Green New Deal package. And then AOC said, I think William Lindsay Clay is a great guy. That's why she didn't endorse Cori Bush in the other race. And Cori Bush forgave her, apparently, right? Because it literally just that. I'm in this social circle. I'm in this social club. I don't want things to be awkward. Like, if you call
so the progressive Democrat strategy of coddling or cozying up actually works against us because it makes you softer in the critique. So that's another thing you can add to why that's a terrible strategy, because it makes you softer in the critique and any adversarial pushback for anything they want to do wrong. So let's continue here.
And I'm not saying this to justify what they are doing. I'm saying this to point out that because of that, there is no way you can do this work and not sell out. Like, there's no way you can not sell out and also not be marginalized unless you have your own forces on your side, which means mobilizing a wider movement. And so when we talked about force the vote, for example, it was not only about forcing the vote, even though that vote itself was important, because that is job number one as a leftist. You have to expose the establishment. But it went beyond that. What we said in Socialist Alternative was that in addition to forcing the actual vote on the floor of Congress, the squad should be calling for force the vote rallies, Medicare for all rallies across the nation. That is when you unleash the power that is latent but is not actually in the forefront to stand with you. And that is what is a
Notice Imani, I listened to this entire interview. I'm talking about the Patreon version. She almost she first says, "Oh, I don't have that deep-seated hatred for the squad of progressives." And then when Bree would bring up something about the squad, oh, let's talk about this, she would the answer would not even be talking about the squad. And then the reason I'm saying this because I just noticed her face when Kshama was just talking about the squad, and it wasn't a good look on her face. I'm gonna just rewind it and let it play a little bit.
Because it could not stand up. All that money could not stand up against what he called, in his words, Sawant's army. And what he was referring to is the fact that when tens of thousands of renters get mobilized and the city hall Democrats, all these so-called progressives who want to go around walking as progressive but never deliver anything so that they can play both sides, they were suddenly in front of a legislation, because I was there, they were suddenly having to vote on waiter evictions or against evictions of school children in the school year, on making landlords pay 3 months rent if they evicted tenants because the rents went up too much. Suddenly it was not abstract or theoretical anymore. It was suddenly very real. And that's when the tens of thousands of renters are saying, where are you? You say you're progressive. What are you going to do on this bill? That is when the rubber hits the road. And then even the corporate money, all of it, the billionaire cash, none of it can withstand this kind of support from working people. And so when the squad don't do that, then they are left alone. And yes, in that context,
look at her face.
You are not going to be able to withstand. Nancy Pelosi will make your life hell as an elected official if you don't go along with her.
So Kshama, I mean, we had this debate a little bit on an earlier podcast, the one you referenced with Chris Hedges. Like I hear what you're saying about, and I think we all agree about what someone like Marianne Williamson is up against, but that's going to be the case for any progressive challenger. So the question is, do we just fundamentally give up on the idea of running people in presidential elections?
Yeah.
Which I think
for Democrats, yeah. 100%. You literally there. Literally there. Well said. Well said.